In the heart of the Galactic Council's towering citadel, a grand chamber buzzed with voices. Delegates from over 50 alien species filled the circular hall, their robes shining under the soft blue lights. Floating translation orbs clicked, softly as they converted 100 languages into one. In the center, a tall hologram flickered to life. It showed the image of Earth, calm, quiet, and surrounded by peaceful satellites. A Varnock speaker floated forward, waving his many arms. Dramatically, the human war veterans, the so-called Black Shield unit, are no longer a threat. His voice echoed with pride. They are relics of a violent past, old men and women sleeping in frozen pods. Let them rest. The galaxy no longer fears Earth. The chamber burst into laughter. Even the strict-faced generals of the Zalari Empire smirked. The laughter spread, like fire, except for one. Admiral Threx of the Koran Empire, an old scarred being with dark silver eyes, sat silently. His claws tapped against the glass table. He didn't laugh. He stared at the image of Earth with a face like stone. When another delegate leaned over and whispered, "Come, Threx, even you know the humans are finished," he only muttered, "You never fought them, did you?" But no one listened. Then it happened. The main chamber lights flickered red. An alarm screamed through the walls, high-pitched and sharp. The floating hologram blinked off. A council guard ran in, gasping for breath, a datapad shaking in his hand. "Joint Galactic Base 17 has gone silent." "What?" a dozen voices shouted. "It was just attacked," the guard said. "Unknown enemy. Nothing on sensors. No warning. No survivors. It was wiped out in under 2 minutes." Panic crashed over the room like a wave. Delegates shouted. Maps flickered on holoscreens, showing the base's last location, a major supply hub near the frontier. Strategic, vital, now gone. A second guard rushed in. "Base 23, offline, same method, no distress call, just silence." "They're probing," Admiral Threx growled. "This is no pirate raid. No known species matches the attack pattern," the intelligence chief said, hands shaking. "We don't know who they are, or what they want." Outside the council chamber, planets began emergency evacuations. Defense fleets scrambled. Still, the unknown enemy moved fast, faster than any protocol allowed. The Galactic Defense AI couldn't predict them. It simply labeled them Hostile XN. Meanwhile, far away, hidden deep under Earth's rocky crust, an old, forgotten bunker hummed to life. Dim lights flickered. Dusty control panels blinked for the first time in decades. A voice, slow and deep, echoed through the silent room. "Black Shield Vault, emergency code received. Opening protocol Alpha 9. Inside, rows of cryopods lined the walls. Each held a single human soldier. Some had white hair frozen in place. Others wore ancient armor, half rusted, half glowing. Their hearts beat once every 10 minutes. Sleeping. Waiting. A red light blinked. One of the pods hissed. Inside it, a man's fingers twitched. A console lit up. Commander Rourke. Rank, level Omega. Status, reactivation approved. In the command room above the pods, an Earth officer, an AI hybrid named Sora, watched silently. Her holographic eyes scanned every detail. She spoke only 3 words into the silent air. "Activate Black Shield Protocol." Back in the Galactic Council, the panic had turned into chaos. Reports now came every hour. Frontier colonies had stopped sending signals. Ships sent to investigate never returned. And still, no one knew what the enemy looked like. No survivors, no visuals, just destruction. Council security tried to calm the situation. "We will send in the Galactic Vanguard. They are our best soldiers," a Drakari general said. Admiral Threx stood up slowly. "They will die." "You exaggerate." Threx looked at the others, then slowly said, "There is one force that fights in the dark, that plans 50 steps ahead, that turns war into an art," a younger delegate scoffed. "You mean the humans, the old warriors? You want to wake the dead?" Threx stared hard. "No, I want to wake the ones who buried empires." But it was already too late. Earth had made its choice. The sleeping warriors were stirring. In one silent moment, over 20 cryopods unlocked across underground Earth bunkers. Rourke opened his eyes. He looked around. He remembered everything, and he whispered, "Time to finish what we started." The war hadn't even begun, and already the galaxy was trembling. The old steel doors of Earth's underground base groaned open as cold air rushed out. Steam hissed from the sides of the cryopods. One by one, they opened. Commander Rourke stepped out barefoot onto the metal floor, his breath fogging the air. His body was scarred, aged, but strong. His eyes scanned the dark chamber, sharp, alert, ready. Beside him, others awoke. Sergeant Lynn, her left arm made of old combat steel with kill mark carvings on it. Major Boone, a quiet man with a cybernetic spine who once fought on 3 planets in a single day. Corporal Reyes, the youngest of the unit, still in her 40s, when she was frozen, but with eyes that had seen too much. As the team gathered, lights in the chamber turned white. A voice spoke from the walls. "Welcome back, Black Shield Unit. You are Earth's last resort." The hologram of Sora appeared, calm, beautiful, and cold. "Unknown hostile forces are wiping out Council planets," she continued. "We lost contact with 7 colonies. The enemy cannot be tracked. No species ID, no survivors." Rourke looked at the map floating in front of him. "This is how it starts again." Boone frowned. "I thought we ended all wars." "We did," Reyes said softly, "but peace never lasts." They followed Sora through the long hallway. The facility was deep under Siberia, built during the human colonial wars. Everything smelled of oil and cold metal. "Suit up," Rourke ordered. The armory opened. Inside were the old weapons, brutal, efficient, no nonsense. Shotguns, pulse rifles, hand blades, EMP grenades. Each soldier picked theirs without hesitation. These weapons were like old friends. Above ground, a black ops shuttle stood waiting. No markings, no colors, just silence. As the team stepped inside, Sora's voice echoed one last time. "Your mission is simple. Track, confirm, eliminate. Leave no trace. Make them fear Earth." Again, the shuttle launched into the sky, silent, fast, invisible to normal sensors. Its course was set. Outer Rim Colony Vega 9, the last known location before it went dark. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council still argued. "They're just old soldiers," one delegate shouted. "Even if Earth sent them, they're few in number." Another delegate from the Kravari race shook his head. "You don't understand. One Black Shield unit held an entire moon against 6 fleets." But that was decades ago. Admiral Threck stood again. His face was pale. "They were never just soldiers," he said. "They were hunters." At that very moment above Colony Vega 9, the human shuttle uncloaked in orbit. The colony was dark. No signals, no signs of life, just silence, and one faint power source deep under the ground. Rourke looked at the others. "Drop time, 90 seconds. They nodded. The Black Shield drop pods detached, slicing through the atmosphere like falling meteors. As they landed near the ruined colony, the dirt blew out around them. Cracked buildings stood like skeletons. No bodies, no blood, just gone. Reyes scanned the area. No heat signatures, no organic matter. "Check deeper," Lynn said. "This feels wrong." They entered the underground lab where the faint signal came from. The walls were burned, computers fried, but one single recording device survived, half broken, sparking. Rourke played the last message. It was only 6 seconds long. Screams, then silence, then a whisper. "They don't want resources, they just want to erase." Suddenly Reyes turned. "We're not alone." Movement in the shadows. Then silence again. Whatever was out there, it was watching. Rourke didn't smile. He didn't panic. He just whispered into his comm, "Let them come. Let them learn." The hunt had begun, and the galaxy would soon remember why the Council once feared Earth's forgotten warriors. The battlefield was quiet. The Devourer was gone, nothing left but twisted debris drifting in the cold dark. Where once the red storm had burned, now only silence remained. But it wasn't peace. Not really. Inside the Black Shield cruiser, Rourke stood before a sealed display. On the screen were two names, Kyle, Mira. Below the names, status, confirmed KIA. Mission success. Nobody spoke. No one moved. Boone placed a hand on the glass. They were the best of us. Reyes nodded, voice soft. They knew what it would cost. Sora's voice came through, calm but heavy. Enemy threat neutralized. No further signals from the rift. Council confirms full retreat. Rourke didn't look away from the screen. What's our next move? Sora replied. Unknown. Council has requested Black Shield presence at Emergency Summit. Reyes looked shocked. They're calling us to the table now. Boone smirked. Looks like the Relics just became the future. The ship changed course, back toward the Council's core worlds. Across the galaxy, broadcasts ran non-stop. Human soldiers saved the Eurolis sector. Black Shield protocol activated for first time in 72 years. Council leadership under review after underestimating Earth's forces. Many aliens celebrated. Many were afraid. In council chambers, high-ranking leaders now spoke with care when they said the word human. No more jokes. No more dismissing them as old or weak. The same admirals who had once laughed at Earth now stood and clapped as the Black Shield team entered the room. Rourke, Boone, Reyes, Lynn. 4 humans in black armor, faces tired, eyes sharp. They didn't bow. They didn't smile. Rourke stepped forward. Let's not pretend we're allies now, he said. We did our job. That's all. One of the council members stood. We failed to respect your people. That changes today. Rourke's voice was calm. It doesn't matter what you say. It matters what you do next. Lynn added. The next threat won't wait 100 years. Reyes leaned in. And when it comes, you better pray humans are still willing to help. The room went quiet. Back on Earth, small lights flickered in quiet corners of ancient bunkers. The Black Shield protocol wasn't turned off. It was expanded. Other units began awakening. Veterans from hidden posts, new recruits trained in silence, old tech upgraded. Earth was no longer hiding. They were watching, preparing, because the galaxy had forgotten one truth. Humans don't start wars. But once they fight, they don't stop until it's over. And now the galaxy remembered. Not because of numbers, not because of power, but because a handful of relics stood up when no one else could, and changed everything, forever. The underground lab grew cold. Rourke raised a hand, signaling the team to go quiet. His sharp eyes scanned every corner. Shadows moved, but too smoothly, too quiet for any known life form. Lynn knelt by the wall, placing a small sensor. The screen flickered, then turned black. Whatever's out there, she said. It's blocking tech, on purpose. Reyes stepped slowly through the hallway, her rifle raised. A faint sound, like breathing, but twisted, echoed from the tunnel ahead. Something's watching us, she said. Boone aimed toward the dark. Let it watch. We'll show it what humans do. Suddenly the lights cut out. Total darkness. The Black Shield helmets activated night vision instantly. But what they saw didn't help. Movement. Fast. Crawling across walls and ceilings like shadows with claws. No clear shape, no defined body. Just presence. One of the creatures dropped from above, slamming onto the ground in front of Rourke. It didn't make a sound. It had no eyes, no mouth. Only a shifting black form that shimmered like liquid metal. Before it could move, Rourke fired. A HFY. Single armor-piercing shot to its center. The creature exploded into smoke. Reyes stepped beside him. That was too easy. Boone looked at his scanner. They're testing us, probing. We don't wait, Rourke said coldly. We strike first. Back on the Council's homeworld, emergency meetings were held again. The attacks were spreading. Planetary defenses failed in minutes. Entire colonies were just gone. A panicked report came in. Vega 9 had human activity detected. Earth is interfering. One council member shouted. They're not interfering, Threx corrected, his voice low. They're waking up. They're just a few relics, another snapped. Those relics, Threx said, once turned a black hole into a weapon. The room went silent. Meanwhile, deep below Vega 9, Black Shield pushed further into the tunnels. The walls were alive, literally. Strange veins pulsed in the metal, like the enemy had grown inside the base. This isn't just an invader, Lin said. It's a virus. It infects places. They reached the colony's core, a power generator. It was still running but coated in black tendrils. One wrong move, and the whole station could explode. We plant charges, Rourke ordered. Then, we burn this thing. Reyes moved toward the center. I've got movement behind. A scream cut through the tunnel. Boone turned just in time to see Reyes yanked into the darkness by something massive. Her rifle clattered to the floor. No. Visual! Lin yelled. It's invisible! Rourke didn't freeze. He pulled a flare from his belt, cracked it, and threw it high. The light lit up the space for just a moment, and in that moment, they saw it. A massive, spider-like creature. Part machine, part shadow, with Reyes in one claw and dozens of tiny red eyes across its face. Rourke didn't hesitate. Fire. All three fired at once. Every shot precise, every movement planned. Years of training kicked in. The creature dropped Reyes and shrieked, a sound that echoed through metal and bone. It didn't die, but it fled, crawling through the walls like liquid. Reyes coughed. Still alive, she said, blood on her lips. Barely. We're pulling out, Rourke said. We've seen enough. Lin placed the final charge. As they raced back through the tunnels, the base began to shake. Boone glanced behind. It's waking more of them. Whole nest down there. They reached the surface and boarded the dropship. As they lifted off, the colony base exploded, sending a black cloud into the sky. From orbit, the explosion looked like a sunspot. Sora's voice returned in their comms. Confirmation received. First strike complete. Begin the message, Rourke said. A signal was sent, short, encrypted, but loud enough to reach every council world. Black Shield active. Unknown threat confirmed. Colony Vega 9 cleansed. Recommend immediate lockdown. It was a warning, but many wouldn't listen, and those who didn't wouldn't survive the next wave, because whatever the humans had faced down there, it was only the beg on the far side of the galaxy. The planet Zephyrian lit up with alarm signals. It was a council military outpost, heavily guarded, equipped with the latest weapons, and protected by 3 battle cruisers in orbit. No one believed it could fall. Then came the silence. All signals from Zephyrian stopped. No explosion, no distress call, just nothing. The council thought it was a malfunction until they received a single transmission. A short video. It showed empty streets, weapons still loaded, engines still running, but no soldiers, no people. Just a dark mist moving slowly through the air. Then the video ended. The room fell into silence as it played. Admiral Threx, now visibly shaken, stood up. Send a message to Earth, he said. Tell them, the war has already begun. Back on the Black Shield ship, Commander Rourke stared at the data coming from Zephyrian. No trace of energy weapons, no heat damage, just vanishing. Linny said, checking the scans. It's the same pattern, Reyes added. They don't fight to win, they erase. Boone nodded grimly, like a virus clearing a hard drive. They all looked at Rourke. His voice was calm but cold. We're not facing an army. We're facing a purge. Sora appeared again. Command has granted full control of your unit. You may recruit more from the archive. Rourke turned toward her. Wake the rest. Across Earth's hidden bunkers, other old pods hissed open. Soldiers long thought dead were rising. Each one had once led a battle no one thought humans could win. Each had scars, cybernetics, and stories that were now legends. Some were broken, some were still dangerous, but all of them were hungry for war. As Rourke's ship approached the edge of the next system, Lura Prime, a mid-tier council planet, another signal interrupted their flight. It wasn't from the enemy. It was from Admiral Threx. The message was short. I believe you, and I need your help. My fleet is under siege. The screen cut to shaky footage from Threx's flagship. Alien creatures climbing across hulls in space, ignoring plasma fire, ripping into armor. They're adapting, Reyes whispered. They're learning. Rourke gave one nod. Then, we adapt faster. Boone activated the weapon system. Do we land or strike from orbit? We land, Rourke said. Black Shield doesn't run from nightmares. We hunt them. The ship entered warp again. Back on Lura Prime, chaos ruled. The sky was blackened with strange clouds. Creatures fell from them like rain. The local army couldn't hold. Threx's forces were being pushed back. And yet, in the middle of that chaos, something strange happened. The humans arrived. Their drop pods slammed into the battlefield like thunder. The Black Shield soldiers walked out slowly, weapons ready. And then, the enemy paused. The creatures stopped, moving for just a second. They had seen these kinds of warriors before. Not in this life, not in this war, but in memory. Because somewhere deep in whatever hive mind controlled them, the humans had left scars. Old ones. Rourke raised his weapon and said just one word. Burn! The battlefield lit up with fury, not chaos, not panic, precision. The Black Shield squad moved like ghosts, every bullet placed, every strike silent and final. They tore through the enemy ranks with skill the modern armies had forgotten. And the creatures? They screamed. For the first time, they retreated. Threx watched from a command ship above, stunned. These aren't relics, he whispered. They're monsters. No, they were humans, the kind the galaxy had forgotten. But now the galaxy would remember, because Earth had just started to wake up its ghosts. The battlefield of Lura Prime lay in ashes. Alien bodies smoldered across the fields. Smoke curled from broken walls. The Council forces, battered and bleeding, watched silently as the Black Shield team moved through the wreckage. Not a single human had fallen. Admiral Threx stepped down from his command shuttle. He walked toward Commander Rourke, careful, almost nervous. You turned the tide, Threx said. In one day. Rourke didn't smile. It wasn't a victory. It was a delay. Threx frowned. You mean there's more coming? Rourke looked up at the dark clouds in the sky. This was just a scout wave. The main force hasn't even arrived yet. At that moment, Sora's voice echoed in their comms. New anomaly detected. Deep space. Edge of the Eurolus belt. All. Council ships retreating. No survivors from forward fleet. Boone cursed. They're eating fleets now. Lynn stepped beside him. Then we take the fight to them. Rourke turned to Threx. You said you believed us. Time to prove it. What do you want? Threx asked. Rourke answered simply. Access to Vault Theta. Threx froze. Vault Theta? That hasn't been opened in 100 years. Reyes spoke up. Because the last time it was opened, 3-star systems turned red on every map. Threx hesitated. The Council swore it would never be used again. Too dangerous. And now? Rourke asked. You think these things care about your promises? There was silence. Then Threx gave a slow nod. Very well. You'll have what you need. Back on Earth, deep beneath the Arctic ice, Vault Theta, unlocked with a sound that shook the ice sheet above. Inside were weapons that hadn't seen the stars in decades. Smart mines that followed sound, EMPs that warped time for 3 seconds, rail cannons that could crack moons. And in the final chamber, 2 soldiers still in cryosleep. Sora's voice trembled as it scanned the chamber. Commander Kale and Lieutenant Mira, last survivors of Operation Inferno. Boone exhaled. Those 2, they wiped out the Zarn swarm alone. We wake them, Rourke said. We'll need every ghost we've got. As the Black Shield team rearmed and loaded the weapons, the Council scrambled to prepare its fleets. Panic was spreading faster than orders. Many alien leaders wanted to flee. Others called for peace talks. But peace was no longer an option. Because just as the humans were opening their forgotten vaults, the enemy arrived. In the orbit of a gas giant near the Uranus belt, a rift opened. Not a ship, not a fleet, a rift. Like space itself was torn open. From it came a shape, so massive it blocked light from a nearby star. It had no engines, no shields, just endless layers of moving black metal and red lights. It didn't broadcast messages. It didn't respond to hails. It simply absorbed a council fleet in seconds. One ship vanished, then 10, then 50. As if they'd never been there, and then it turned toward the nearest planet. The planet held millions, children, families, diplomats, no defenses. Rourke saw the data come in and gave the order. Set course to intercept. Reyes looked at him. That thing is the size of a moon. Rourke nodded. Then we hit it like a collapsing star. From Earth to the far corners of the galaxy, people began hearing one name again. Black Shield. It had once meant death. Now it meant hope, but only if they moved fast enough. Only if their old fire still burned, and only if the Council could accept a terrifying truth. The so-called Relics were humanity's last chance. The Council fleet stood still in space, waiting. Before them was the enemy superstructure, now called the Devourer. It was quiet. No signals, no demands, just motionless horror. Inside the Council's main dreadnought, fear ran deep. Admiral Threx stared at the black hole-shaped enemy on the screen. "Have you ever seen anything like it?" he asked. Commander Rourke didn't answer. His eyes were locked, his jaw tight. Boone leaned forward. "It's not just a ship, it's alive." Sora interrupted. "Confirmed. Minor gravitational waves detected. Artificial core is pulsing, like a heart. The Devourer may be feeding." Lynn spoke, her voice low. "It's not just destroying fleets, it's learning from them." Suddenly the lights flickered. A system-wide power spike hit every ship. A message flashed, but not from the Devourer. It came from Earth's old systems, coded deep into the original Black Shield protocols. Everyone froze as the message played. Final War Protocol unlocked. Ghost Flare option authorized. Rourke stood straight. "They're letting us use everything." Reyes whispered, "Even the Ghost Flare? We swore we'd never use that." "Tech again." Boone looked up. "We won't get a second chance." Meanwhile, on the far edge of the battlefield, the Devourer moved. Its outer shell opened in slow, shifting layers, revealing something terrible. A massive core glowing with dark energy and twisted shapes forming inside. And then, the sky turned red. A red storm spread across space like the stars were bleeding. Ships that touched it froze in mid-space, then crumbled apart. The Council line broke. Fleets ran. Some fired blindly. Others disappeared into the storm. Only one ship charged forward, the Black Shield cruiser. Inside, Kale and Mira, finally, awake, strapped into their drop pods. They hadn't spoken much since revival. Their faces were calm, emotionless. Rourke stood between them. "You ready?" Kale simply nodded. "Always." Mira grinned. "Let's finish what we started." The drop pods launched. They soared through the red storm, dodging shattered ships and swirling debris. The Devourer's outer defenses activated. Tentacle-like weapons, smart plasma, antimatter nets. But none of it stopped them. These weren't regular soldiers. These were the legends the galaxy had forgotten. Inside the cruiser, Reyes activated the Ghost Flare drive. The ship bent space for a moment, splitting into 3 copies of itself, confusing enemy sensors. Boone took control of the weapons. Time to bring the pain. Missiles, rail cannons, and pulse beams ripped into the Devourer's shell. The creature screamed. Not through sound, but through the minds of every living being nearby. Nightmares, visions, fear. Even Council admirals dropped to their knees, holding their heads in pain. Only the humans kept fighting. Lynn uploaded the virus she had prepared, a code bomb made from ancient Earth malware mixed with alien data. It struck the Devourer's core like poison. The ship shook. Cracks appeared. And inside it, Kale and Mira landed. They fought through internal passageways, using weapons no one had seen in centuries. Their every move was perfect, like music made of violence. Finally, they reached the heart. It was alive, beating, growing. Kale pulled out the ghost flare charge. He looked at Mira. "No way out," she said softly. "We knew that," Kale replied. She smiled, and they activated it together. The pulse lit up the core. Outside, the Devourer screamed again, louder, deeper, then began to collapse. Rourke turned away as the light exploded behind them. "They did it," Reyes said. Boone lowered his weapon controls. "We just witnessed the impossible. Council." Ship slowly returned, stunned. The red storm was gone. Space was quiet again, but not peaceful, because now the Council knew the truth. The Black Shield wasn't a relic. It was the galaxy's last defense, and humans were far from extinct.